It is Crafty Rhea, and I am back today with another card sketch. This is card sketch number 9. It was inspired by Lois over on my Facebook group, Create with Crafty Rhea. There's a whole bunch of wonderful inspiration there, and I know you will like it. Head on over there and check us out. Lois posted a card using a very similar technique to this, and I thought it would be really cool to make a card sketch out of it. I'm going to be using it in the landscape format because it happens to go with the images that I'm using. You can do it any way you'd like. And I went ahead and put a little spot down here for a sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and go the wrong way. I'll zoom you out so you can see my entire work surface. These are 1-inch wide strips of paper, so I have 5 of them on here. And this is just a regular A2 size card base. It is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And this sentiment is cut at about 2.5 inches, but that doesn't really matter. You can do anything down there, or you can totally leave it off. The sketch is yours to do however you want with it. I'm going to, as usual, do a recycled Christmas card and a regular card using this card sketch. The Christmas card I chose is this one here. On Lois's post, she took a picture or a card and cut it into 4 equal pieces and then put it on the greeting card. But I thought it measured perfectly by doing 5 1-inch strips. You can do it however you like, make it a mosaic or anything you like that. So, and I thought I measured out 5 pieces 1 inch wide, and it fits perfectly on this card base, leaving just a little bit of space in between. So I'm going to use this recycled card. This came as a sample from the gallery collection, and I know several of you have asked where I got these samples. There's the information there, and it is www.thegallerycollection.com, and you can go on their site and pick out a few sample cards, and then instead of throwing them away, you can use them and make a new card out of them. And my second card will be using this piece of paper that was in one of my recent Happy Mail packages. You can see that on one of my past videos. And I thought this was a really pretty scene, and I thought it would go really well with this technique. I have 2 card bases cut. The first one is 5.5 by 4 1/4, traditional A2 size card, because it fits this image perfectly. This image isn't quite tall enough for that card. It would have left a lot of white space on the top and on the bottom. And I have a whole bunch of envelopes that are 4 inches wide that are 5.5 by 4. So I went ahead and cut this card base down to 4. It fits perfectly on it, and I thought I would use that for that card. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and first cut this card apart. I want to save this really pretty Season's Greetings sentiment. It's in a holographic font, and I thought that would be my sentiment for the bottom of my card. For this project, I'm going to use this cutter because on the small side, on this small side, I can easily measure 1-inch strips. You can use a craft knife and a ruler if that would help, or whatever it is you normally like to cut with. I'm going to start by focusing on cutting this piece, this strip out. And I'm going to cut the bottom of this strip first. Since it's such a little sliver that I'm cutting off, I would rather get rid of that at the beginning. I'm going to cut a little bit more. It's harder to take a strip off when you have a narrow piece of paper. Then I'm going to just cut the word Season's Greetings. and I will trim both edges of that. Okay, so there we have my sentiment. And now I'm going to cut this picture out. And the sentiment on the inside is more for a business, so I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to leave this extra long piece on that side just so I have a little more of something to hold on to. So I was looking at the picture and I decided if I have to get rid of any of this width, it would be off of this side. This picture does measure more than 5 inches across. It measures almost 5.5, 5 3/8. So I know I'm going to have to cut off 3/8. And I'd rather have that 3/8 come from that side. There's just too much going on over here. It would cut off that pretty tree. So I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm just going to cut 5 strips that are 1 inch wide. And I can line it right up in my trimmer at the 1 inch mark over here. That's why I chose this trimmer. This is a Cricut trimmer. If you have an intricate design, you might want to mark on the back 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to just line them up over here in the order that I cut them off. Just so I have them in the same order and I don't have to do any guesswork. And then see, with that extra piece on there, it makes it so much easier to trim it down to the very last piece. So I have my 5 pieces there that are 1 inch each. Inch each, that sounds pretty cool. Make sure I have my right card base. And then I'm going to line them up right on here and see how it looks. Make sure I have them in the same order before I glue anything down. There we go. It's like putting a puzzle back together, but you can cheat and put them back together as you go. And then this sentiment will go right on there. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to just take these pieces and I'm just going to glue them down. I have my trusty Elmer's glue. We've talked about this before. This is awesome. I'm going to move this down towards me a little bit so I can see it better and make sure I line it up good. This Elmer's glue, if you haven't heard me talk about it, is very much like, to make sure I have this going the right way, very much like art glitter glue, except the difference is the price. It is very inexpensive compared to art glitter glue. Now, if you pick a picture that has people in it, just be mindful that you're not cutting somebody in half. I went ahead and just picked this one that had a scene that it didn't really matter if I cut anything in half. Kind of kept it, you know, a kind of a generic scene. And if your picture is not easy to tell if it's upside down or right side up, you might want to mark top and bottom on the backs and number them. Now I was a little conservative here and made mine pretty close together, so I have a little extra here and a little extra on the bottom. I can go ahead and trim those off just so it looks even on my card. I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to take just a sliver off that right. It won't make a difference when you put it in the envelope. It'll just make it look just a little more even. There we go. And then we have this piece that says Season's Greetings that I could put right down at the bottom there. And I'm thinking I might just put it up on a little bit of foam tape just to give it a little oomph. I'm going to just cut a couple strips that are really narrow. I'm going to stick that spare one back on the roll. And then I will take the backings off. There we go. I think that came out really, really cute. It's full of sparkle. It looks really good. And it made it very interesting. Then I have this next card. I'm going to do the same thing. And of course it's too wide for the background. So I'm going to decide which side I can choose to cut some off of. I'm definitely going to cut it off of that side because I think you'll lose a lot of the image if you cut that side off. So I'm going to definitely cut it off this left side. So I'm going to make 5 strips starting on this side. And this one is pretty easy. I won't have to mark it either. I'm going to make 1-inch strips just like I did on the other one. Now, if you are doing this with a Christmas card or something that has a more interesting image than this left over, if you have something like that, you can make it into a tag or something like that. That right there does not look very good by itself, so I won't be keeping that. But we'll go ahead and put these down, and I will try to be better with my spacing this time. There we go. And I think for this one, it's a thinner paper, so I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner. I like to use wet glue really only on thicker pieces of cardstock, not so much thinner paper because they can buckle. If you're making a whole bunch of these, you might want to make yourself a little spacer or something to make it easier to know how far apart to put the pieces. There we go. There's that one. And there was no sentiment on the original piece, but I did have this sheet of stickers, these Heidi Grace mini words, and I thought I would use one of these in a nice color that would go good with this. And I thought maybe down here this Believe might go good. Or there's also this one here that says Journey. Journey might be too green. I'm going to go ahead and go with this Believe. I wanted it to be an all occasion card that I could use for anything and anyone. And I'm just going to put that there. There's enough contrast. I didn't need to raise it up. And sometimes I send people little goodies in the mail and I don't want to add any extra bulk to the front of the card. So there we go. We have 2 cards. I have this sentiment left over from my last video, and I can go ahead and put that inside this card. I have this blue background paper that I think would work perfectly because it'll bring some of the blue from the front. And I'll just go ahead and put some glue on there. And then I will cut it out. Oh, that's too much. Let me take a little sliver off. There we go. I didn't line it up very good or eyeball it very good. There we go. So here are the 2 cards that I made with this card sketch. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you have any ideas about how you would do the cards or what you would use. You can use photographs or anything like that as well. It would be really nice. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom and also click the bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. If you like what you see, I'd love you to give it a thumbs up and then head on over to my Facebook group, Create with Crafty Rhea, and check us out. There's some wonderful inspiration over there and a whole heck of a lot of ideas, and I think you'll enjoy it. I look forward to seeing you over there. Thanks again for watching. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next time, you know what to do. Go get crafting. Bye-bye.